GAA is proudly brought to you by PAL, Fresh Daily, and The Australian, 100% pure dog food.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be here again on Good Afternoon Adelaide, the first day of a brand new season, December 1, the start of summer. I'm feeling great to be back. I'm Jeremy Durham, as always, with Norman Vine. Norman.
Hello, everybody! Jeremy, very good to be back.
We've been away
Very
for a
good.
couple of weeks, Norman. How did you spend your time off?
Oh, yes, I've had a lovely 2 weeks on Little St. James Island, and I just feel like a new man.
Well,
Very refreshed.
well, I'd love to visit there someday myself, and
I hope you do. But remember,
Yes.
what stays on the island stays on the island. That's what we say.
that's what I've heard. Okay, before we get things underway, I just wanted to address a little bit of criticism that we've received on the show recently. It's to do with a lack of females appearing on camera. Of course, we have them as tea ladies, but we take this criticism seriously. We do, especially when it comes from such a prominent male journalist. And we are going to address that on today's show.
We will be over-delivering on ladies today. Plenty of women guests. It's basically Ladies' Day, if this was a golf course, but it's a television show.
Yes, plenty of women coming up on the show today. But first, a man. Dr. Kevin Goodall, welcome back. How are you?
I am as well as can be expected, thank you, Jeremy. Norman, how are you?
Very well, Dr. Kevin. Back from the dead.
Well, only momentarily. They resuscitated me, and I'm told that I've made a full recovery and cleared to return to the airwaves.
Well, we're very glad that you did, Dr. Kevin, because you're here to promote a new doco that you've produced, which will be airing later on this television station. It's about the local history of Adelaide, I believe.
There is something of a hidden history of many of Adelaide's suburb names. Some are more famous than others, you may know. During the wartime period, the Germanic heritage of many of our suburb and town names was modified and revised, if you will. So, for instance, Harndorf at one point was known as Ambleside. Lobethal was known as Tweed Vale when the Teutonic heritage of these places was deemed problematic. And while we're talking about Germanic heritage, Mount Kitchener? You know of Mount Kitchener?
That's where they make those buns.
That's right. But at one point it was known as Kaiser's Stool. Kaiser's Stool.
I thought that was Paraka.
Please keep these thoughts to yourself, Norman. Let's hear from the real expert.
Pectorville was at one point known as Hitlerville up until its renaming in 1974.
Yes, well, they dragged their feet on that one, didn't they?
Yes, it would have been patriotic to change it during the war, but I suppose bureaucracy slows down the processes, and
They changed it during the Vietnam War.
yes, you've got to give at least one war in between to give these things a bit of breathing room, so you're not making rash decisions. I mean, you know, our heritage is very important.
Closer to the ocean, Somerton Park, a suburb which is shrouded in its own mysteries and hidden histories, but was for some years a sovereign microstate known as San Remo, famed for its pasta production.
Curious you should say that, Dr. Kevin, because it does make me wonder whether the infamous Somerton Man had simply had too much pasta for lunch on Jetty Road.
Didn't wait at least half an hour before getting in the ocean.
Can be deadly, Norman.
Well, now everyone knows his name.
Now, closer to you, Jeremy.
Oh, yes.
The suburb of Regency Park at one time was known as Tam O'Shanter.
Is that right?
In fact, it was home to much of Adelaide's Irish community until they were driven into the ocean by a pike-wielding serpent.
Good grief.
I thought a tam o'shanter was a Scottish thing. Isn't that thing that they have on there? It's like a catheter type thing.
No, you're quite wrong. I'm the one with the catheter, Norman.
I have a question, Dr. Kevin. I know that some suburbs had indigenous names from the Aboriginal people, and they were changed to English names. But curiously, there are some places that still retain their Aboriginal names, such as Ascot Park, I believe, was the name of that area for the local Kaurna people. Kensington, those were all indigenous words.
Yes, that's true, Jeremy, but another which might surprise you, Windsor Gardens, a name suggestive of something of a royal lineage, was at one point known as Bee Faces. Bee Faces, which was an honour bestowed upon a prominent local resident who wore a beard of bees. A beard of bees! A beard of bees! So famous was this adornment on his face until, tragically, he was stung to death by a European wasp. Such was the trauma of this incident that that suburb was immediately renamed. While we're talking about horrible instances that led to the renaming of a suburb, Kilburn, as we now know it, was at one point known as Little Chicago. Among other things, its streets were paved with wood and waxed daily with eucalyptus oil in order to lubricate them so the tram could slide right on into the city. Yes, but highly flammable and highly combustible. So we had the horrible fire of 1912, which is what is commemorated with its current name as it's now known, Kilburn.
That was the Great Chicago Fire, wasn't it?
I've heard about that.
Yes.
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 And yet I didn't know all the details. Our education system fails us.
Lest we ever forget the victims of this fire. Kilburn, once known as Little Chicago.
Actually, it was a bakery in Little Chicago during that fire, where they were halfway through making a pizza when the fire happened, and that's why we have Chicago-style crust these days. It's a little fun fact there.
And all of these things come from the fine city of Adelaide. Well, it's incredible what you learn, Dr. Kevin.
It's all there. It's all right there in the street directory. Look at that.
Yes.
Street director.
Don't read the Lord of the Rings. You'll find far more adventure and fantasy within that one little book. Dr. Kevin, before you go, I believe you prepared a trailer for us to view for the documentary.
Yes, that's right. Can we cut to the trailer? Yes, and I will be driving that around Adelaide for the next couple of weeks in order to promote the upcoming screening of this documentary on this very channel, so please tune in.
It's very innovative.
All right, let's get to a newsbreaker. Ray Goodyear, what do you have for us?
Good afternoon, I'm Ray Goodyear. Making news this hour, a man was arrested early this morning after allegedly trespassing in the Lobethal Fairyland village. The man appeared dishevelled, having apparently slept in one of the 17 cottages. The man, only giving his initials as JD, is currently seeking accommodation. The fire brigade was called to a suspected fire at the Fell Bakery this afternoon, but it turned out it was just several people having a stroke at the same time. They are currently receiving medical attention. And line dancing superstar Billy Ray Cyrus has announced a tour of Australia. Adelaide is set to miss out. So good news for us. And now back to the boys in the studio.
Ray Goodyear, Adelaide's most accurate 3 p.m. news bulletin.
Thanks for that, Ray. Good news indeed. And the Lobethal Fairyland Village, or should I say the Tweedvale Fairyland Village.
Indeed you could, Norman. Indeed you could.
You ever been there, Jeremy?
Nope, not at all. In fact, I'm actually much more disappointed on missing out about the line dancing. You want to see some? Here we go.